PTG is one of the oldest and most experienced Forza teams that have been around since the early days of Forza, so their tuning setup should be pretty good, right? That's what we are going to find out. Here's how. At first, we run their tunes on a track to set base times. We will be using fastest lap, average lap time, and some of the best splits as our metrics. Second, we install the same parts and upgrades as the original tunes and apply our own tuning settings to see if we can improve the tune without changing any parts. Third, we completely change the build while only keeping the same purpose and car class as the original tunes. We compare all the results in the end and give those tunes a score out of 5. I asked multiple other drivers to perform the same tests so we can get more accurate results. This should also tell us if different driving styles or skill levels have an effect on the tune. Here's the track we will be testing the tunes on. It looks similar to one of the default Forza tracks, with a few corners added in. It has a good balance of straights and different types of corners. Time set on this track will tell us how good a car will perform for general road racing. We will be testing 2 different tunes from PTG Jamie in this video. Let's begin. First, we'll be looking at this B-Class road tune for Acura Integra, which is his most popular tune if we exclude seasonal and starter cars. It features 215 horsepower and weighs around 1200 kilos. That's a very low power to weight ratio even for a grip build in B-Class. The tune is also front wheel drive and features semi-slick tires, which is way too much, and this was apparent upon driving the car. The tires basically carry the whole car. The most noticeable thing, however, was the lack of straight line speed and acceleration. It doesn't matter if you are racing online or against driver tires, you would always lose a lot of time on the straights. You need to be racing on a full handling circuit just to stand a chance, and this wasn't made better with this tune's gearing. The second and third gears are way too long, while others are way too short. Anyway, we drove the car around our track and here is everyone's time. Now, it was time to retune the car to see if it can go any faster. We installed the same upgrades as the original tune, and then everyone was free to apply their own tuning settings. Here are the settings I used, with the main improvement being the better gears. Suspension was also improved, but most of this build's handling relies on its tires. Regardless, it had a noticeable impact and most times were improved with new tuning settings. Drivers on the top had the most improvement while others had mixed results. On average, all times were improved by around 0.4 of a second. It's safe to say that we managed to make the car faster and more consistent, but how much more improvement can we make by changing the upgrades as well? The original tune features no swaps and no Forza aero, so we kept our builds purest as well. Here's what I made. This build features rally tires instead of race tires. However, it's 156 kilos lighter and has 47 more horsepower. While it features less overall grip than the original tune, it's still on the handling side. On the track, our new builds turned out to be so much faster and the improvement was huge across the board. All times were improved by around 1.5 seconds on average. Sure, the new build wasn't as easy to drive and it had worse brakes, but in the end, 7 out of 8 people would prefer their new builds over the previous 2. The original tune managed to achieve an average score of 2.8 out of 5. Now, it's time to look at the other tune, which is an S1 class build for the new 911 GT3. It features 549 horsepower, weighs around 1300 kilos and features full slick tires. This tune appeared to be another handling build. Upon driving it, however, it's really not. This tune just doesn't corner well, especially at higher speeds. Everyone had the same issue. The car felt like a boat. This was mostly caused by the lowered aerodynamics, which is not something you do on a race tune in Forza. Here are the times we managed to set, and here are the settings I used. The aerodynamics alone should make the car much faster, and it did. Everyone made huge improvements compared to their previous time. On average, the fastest lap was improved by around 0.8, which is a lot. It was green across the board with a few exceptions, so it's safe to say that the new settings made the tune much better, regardless of your driving. The car just had way more grip at higher speeds, and it wasn't really slowed down on the straights thanks to its overall low drag. But how much more can we improve using a different build? Here's what I made. It's basically using rally tires in exchange for more power. This new build was noticeably harder to drive and tires were so easy to spin, especially at lower speed. Still, having more power was beneficial for most people and resulted in faster times, but it was clear that not everyone felt comfortable with more power, as the improvements were much smaller when compared to the previous build. One thing we can all agree, however, is that the original tune was bad. There is really not any way to defend it, and in the end, it averaged a score of 1.2 out of 5. And that is everything. Let me know which tunes we should try out next. And if you want to participate in these tests, you can do so by joining the Discord server linked in the description. Thanks for watching and goodbye.